My beloved soul, pause just for a moment. Before you walk away, before you close that door, before you say the words that cannot be taken back, this message has found you for a reason. This is not coincidence. This is not random. You were meant to hear this right now, at this exact second, because something unseen is unfolding around your relationship, and if you act too quickly, you may step into a decision that echoes with regret far deeper than you expect. There is a tension inside you, isn't there? A quiet storm that no one else fully understands. Part of you feels exhausted, ready to leave, ready to finally choose yourself. But another part of softer, quieter voice keeps whispering, wait. That whisper is not weakness. That whisper is not confusion. That whisper may be divine intervention. Archangel Michael is stepping forward in this moment, not with judgment, but with protection. He sees what you cannot see. He understands what is hidden beneath the surface of your pain, beneath the arguments, beneath the silence, beneath the distance that has been growing between you and the one you are thinking of leaving behind. And right now, he is urging you to slow down, not because your feelings are wrong, but because they may not be complete. You see, what feels like an ending is not always an ending. Sometimes, it is a test. Sometimes, it is a moment designed to reveal something deeper, something that can only be seen if you do not rush away from it. The enemy of clarity is urgency, and right now, urgency is pushing you toward a decision that may not align with your true path. There are things happening in your relationship that you have not yet uncovered, words that have not been spoken, truths that have not yet surfaced, emotions that have been buried beneath pride, fear, and misunderstanding. And if you walk away now, you may never discover what was truly meant to be revealed in this moment. Feel this deeply. This is not about forcing you to stay in pain. This is not about telling you to ignore your worth. This is about timing. Divine timing. There is a difference between leaving because it is right and leaving because it is too soon. And right now, everything in the spiritual realm is signaling that you are standing at a fragile edge where one step could change everything in ways you cannot yet imagine. Archangel Michael is not here to control your choice. Your free will remains sacred. But he is here to illuminate what is hidden, to protect you from making a decision in a moment of emotional intensity that may not reflect your true heart. He is asking you to breathe, to pause, to observe, not just what you feel, but why you feel it. Because what if this breaking point is not the end of your relationship, but the beginning of a deeper truth? What if the very thing that is pushing you away is also the key to understanding something that could transform everything? Do not move yet. Not until you see clearly. Not until the fog lifts. Not until you hear what hath been waiting to be heard. This moment matters more than you realize. Listen carefully, because what you are experiencing right now may not be as simple as it appears. What feels like distance, frustration, or emotional exhaustion is not always rooted in the physical world alone. There is a deeper layer, a hidden battle that many never recognize until it is too late. And this is where clarity begins to separate those who act in haste from those who move in wisdom. You have been trying to make sense of everything logically. You have replayed conversations in your mind, questioned intentions, and analyzed every small detail, hoping to find a clear answer. But the more you think, the more confused you feel. One moment you are certain it is over, and the next moment something inside you resists that conclusion. That inner conflict is not accidental. It is a signal. There are forces that influence emotions in ways you cannot always see. Miscommunication becomes magnified. Small misunderstandings grow into heavy burdens. Silence begins to feel like rejection. And slowly, without realizing it, two people who once felt connected begin drifting apart, not because the connection is gone, but because something is interfering with its clarity. This is the hidden battle. Archangel Michael stands in the middle of this unseen tension, holding his sword of truth, not to divide you, but to cut through the illusion that is clouding your vision. He sees how easy death is into your heart. He sees how quickly frustration has replaced patience. And he understands that what you are feeling is real, but it may not be the full truth of the situation. You may have noticed how certain thoughts keep repeating in your mind. Thoughts that say, "It's not worth it anymore," or "You deserve better than this," or "This will never change." While some of these thoughts may carry truth, others may be amplified beyond their reality. They grow louder when you are tired, when you are hurt, when you feel unseen. And in those moments, they push you toward decisions that feel like relief in the present but may lead to emptiness later. This is why you feel pulled in two directions. One part of you wants peace, even if it means walking away. But another part senses that something deeper is not being addressed. That second voice is important. It is the part of you that recognizes that not all struggles mean something is broken beyond repair. Some struggles are signals, not endings. Relationships are not just built on feelings. They are shaped by energy, timing, and understanding. When any of these elements become distorted, everything begins to feel heavier than it truly is. Words are misinterpreted. Intentions are misunderstood. And suddenly, what once felt natural begins to feel forced. But here's what you must understand. Not every storm is meant to destroy. Some storms are meant to reveal what is hidden beneath the surface. They expose weaknesses, yes, but they also expose truths that cannot be seen when everything is calm. And right now, your relationship is in the middle of such a storm. Archangel Michael is urging you to look beyond the surface, to stop asking only, "Why does this feel so hard?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to show me?" Because within this difficulty, there may be something essential that you have not yet understood. A truth about yourself, a truth about the other person, or a truth about the connection itself. If you walk away without seeing that truth, you do not just leave the relationship, you leave the lesson. And lessons have a way of returning, often in different forms, until they are fully understood. That is why this moment matters so deeply. Do not mistake pressure for clarity. Just because something feels urgent does not mean it is right. Sometimes, urgency is the very thing that blocks you from seeing clearly. And right now, clarity is what you need more than anything. Stay with this for a little longer. There is more being revealed than you realize. There is something subtle that has been happening around you, something easy to overlook if you are only focusing on the surface of your emotions. It is not loud. It does not demand your attention. But it is there, quietly repeating itself, trying to reach you before you make a decision that cannot be undone. This is the sign you were about to miss. Think back to the last few days, maybe even the last few weeks. Have you noticed how certain thoughts or memories keep returning at unexpected moments? Not just random memories, but very specific ones. Moments that remind you of what this relationship once felt like, or glimpses of something unresolved that still lingers between you. These are not accidents. These are signals trying to bring your awareness back to something unfinished. You may have tried to ignore them. You may have told yourself, "That's in the past," or "That doesn't change anything now." But if it truly meant nothing, it would not keep resurfacing. The heart does not repeat what is irrelevant. It repeats what still holds meaning, what still carries truth that has not been fully understood. At the same time, you may have experienced sudden waves of doubt, moments where you feel completely certain that leaving is the only option, followed by moments where that certainty fades and is replaced with hesitation. That inconsistency is not weakness. It is a sign that your spirit is not in full agreement with the decision your mind is trying to finalize. Archangel Michael is working within these quiet moments, guiding your attention to what truly matters. He does not force answers upon you, but he places signs in your path, small, almost unnoticeable nudges that encourage you to pause and reflect. A memory, a dream, a sudden feeling that interrupts your certainty. These are not distractions. They are invitations. There may also be something else you have felt but not fully acknowledge. A sense that there is still something left unsaid. Words that were held back, truths that were avoided, conversations that were postponed because the timing never felt right. And now, as you stand on the edge of walking away, those unspoken things begin to surface more strongly than ever. This is where many people make their greatest mistake. They interpret these signs as confusion, as a reason to escape faster, as something to silence rather than understand. But what if these signs are not trying to confuse you? What if they are trying to protect you from making a decision without full awareness? Because once you walk away, you carry those unanswered questions with you. You carry the what-ifs, the unfinished thoughts, the quiet wondering of whether something could have been different if you had just paused a little longer. And those questions do not disappear easily. They follow you, sometimes for years, showing up in unexpected moments, reminding you of what was never fully resolved. Right now, you are being given an opportunity that many people do not recognize until it is too late. The opportunity to see clearly before acting, to understand before concluding, to listen, not just to your emotions, but to the deeper signals that are trying to guide you. Archangel Michael is asking you to trust this pause, not as a delay but as protection, because clarity does not come from rushing forward. It comes from stillness, from observation, from allowing the truth to reveal itself without forcing an immediate outcome. There is still something here for you to see, something important. And if you allow yourself to remain present just a little longer, you may begin to understand why this moment feels so intense. It is not just about ending or staying. It is about awareness. It is about truth. It is about making a decision that you will not question later. So do not ignore the signs. Do not silence the quiet voice within you. Do not rush past the very thing that may hold the answer you have been searching for. Pause. Reflect. Pay attention. Because what you were about to miss may change everything. Type "I trust the divine timing" in the comments if you feel this message deep within you. Blessing code 739 is now activated over your path. As this truth settles into your spirit, understand this: messages like this are not just meant for you alone. They are seeds of light meant to reach every soul standing at the edge of a life-changing decision. When you choose to give, you are not supporting a channel. You are opening doors for someone else to receive the exact guidance they have been praying for in silence. The Lord says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." This is your moment to act in alignment with that promise. If your heart is stirring right now, that is not emotion. It is a divine invitation. Sow into this mission through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description, or even the QR code placed for you. As you release your seed, heaven records your obedience, and blessings begin to move in ways you cannot yet see. Step into this flow now, and let your giving become a testimony of light for others. Right now, your emotions feel loud, almost overwhelming. They rise and fall like waves, pulling you in different directions, making it difficult to stand still long enough to truly understand what is happening inside you. One moment, you feel certain that walking away is the only way to protect your peace. The next moment, a quiet ache returns, reminding you that something about this decision does not feel fully settled. This is where you must begin to separate what you feel from what is real. Feelings are powerful, but they are not always stable. They respond to moments, to words spoken in frustration, to silence that feels heavier than it truly is. They react to fear, to past wounds, to expectations that may not have been met. And when emotions take control, they can create a version of reality that feels convincing but is not complete. This is why decisions made in emotional intensity often lead to regret once the intensity fades. Archangel Michael is stepping into this moment not to silence your feelings, but to bring clarity to them. He wants you to understand that your emotions are valid, but they are not always reliable guides for permanent decisions. What you feel right now is influenced by what you have recently experienced, the arguments, the misunderstandings, the distance. But what is real goes deeper than these temporary states. Ask yourself this gently. If all the tension disappeared for just one day, if all the pressure and confusion were lifted, would you still feel the same urgency to leave? Or would your perspective begin to shift? This question is important because it reveals whether your decision is rooted in truth or in temporary emotional weight. There is also something else to consider. Sometimes, feelings are not just reactions to the present moment. They are echoes of the past. Old wounds have a way of resurfacing in current relationships, making situations feel more intense than they actually are. A small misunderstanding can feel like a major betrayal if it touches an old scar. A moment of silence can feel like abandonment if you have experienced it before. And without realizing it, you begin to respond not just to what is happening now, but to everything that has ever hurt you. This is where confusion begins. You think you are reacting to the relationship, but in reality, you may also be reacting to your past. And when those two things become intertwined, it becomes very difficult to see clearly. Archangel Michael is guiding you to pause and look deeper. Not just at what happened, but at how it made you feel and why it made you feel that way. Because within that understanding lies the truth. Not the surface-level truth shaped by emotion, but the deeper truth that brings clarity and peace. You may also notice how your mind tries to create certainty where there is still uncertainty. It tells you, this is not right, or this will never work, even when you have not fully explored every part of the situation. The mind seeks quick conclusions because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. But quick conclusions are not always accurate ones. Reality is often more complex than it appears in moments of emotional intensity. There are layers to what you are experiencing, layers that cannot be fully understood if you rush to the end before exploring the middle. And right now, you are standing in that middle space where everything feels unclear, where emotions are loud, and where truth is still unfolding. This is why Archangel Michael is asking you to ground yourself, to step back from the intensity of your feelings, even if only for a moment, and observe them instead of becoming them. Notice what changes when you give yourself time. Notice how certain emotions lose their strength when they are not immediately acted upon. Notice how clarity begins to form when you allow yourself to breathe instead of react. There is a difference between a feeling that passes and the truth that remains. Feelings shift. They rise and fall. But truth stays steady, even when everything else feels uncertain. And your task right now is to find that steady place within yourself before making a decision that could alter your path. You are not being asked to ignore your emotions. You are being asked to understand them, to look beyond their intensity and discover what they are truly trying to show you. Because once you see clearly, your decision will not come from confusion or pressure. It will come from a place of calm certainty. And that is the kind of decision you will never regret. There comes a moment in every meaningful connection where everything feels like it is being tested at once. Not just your patience, not just your emotions, but your depth, your understanding, and your ability to stand still when everything inside you is urging you to run. This is that moment for you. And whether you realize it or not, this is more than just a relationship challenge. It is a defining test that holds the power to shape your path moving forward. Tests do not always appear as obvious obstacles. Sometimes, they arrive disguised as confusion, as emotional distance, as repeated misunderstandings that seem to have no clear solution. They push you to your limits, not to break you, but to reveal what is truly inside you. And right now, what is being revealed is not just about the other person. It is about you. How do you respond when things are uncertain? How do you react when your expectations are not met? Do you choose to pause and understand, or do you move quickly to protect yourself by stepping away? These questions are not meant to judge you. They are meant to bring awareness to the patterns that quietly shape your decisions. Archangel Michael is present in this test, not as a silent observer, but as a guide. He sees the crossroads before you. One path is driven by emotion, quick, reactive, and fueled by the desire to escape discomfort. The other path is guided by awareness, steady, intentional, and rooted in understanding. Neither path is forced upon you. The choice remains yours. But each choice leads to a different outcome, not just in this relationship, but in your personal growth. This is what makes this moment so important. Because it is not just about whether you stay or leave. It is about how you make that decision. If you walk away out of frustration, without fully understanding what happened, you may carry that same pattern into your next connection. The faces may change, the circumstances may shift, but the lesson will remain until it is learned. But if you choose to face this moment with awareness, if you allow yourself to slow down, to reflect, to see both your side and the other person's side, you begin to break that cycle. You begin to grow beyond the patterns that once controlled your reactions. And that growth stays with you, no matter what decision you ultimately make. Tests are not meant to trap you. They are meant to prepare you. They stretch your perspective, challenge your assumptions, and invite you to become more than you were before. And while they may feel uncomfortable, even painful at times, they carry within them the potential for transformation. You may feel like you have already given enough, like you have already tried to understand, already tried to be patient, and that feeling is valid. But this moment is asking you to go a little deeper, not to tolerate what is harmful, but to ensure that your decision comes from clarity rather than exhaustion. Because there is a difference between being done and being drained. When you are truly done, there is a sense of calm that accompanies your decision. There is no urgency, no inner conflict, no lingering questions. But when you are drained, everything feels heavy, everything feels urgent, and the desire to escape becomes stronger than the desire to understand. Right now, you must ask yourself honestly, which one are you feeling? Archangel Michael is urging you to recognize this distinction, because it changes everything. If you are acting from exhaustion, your decision may bring temporary relief but not lasting peace. But if you are acting from clarity, your decision will feel steady, even if it is difficult. This test is not about perfection. It is not about making the right choice in the eyes of others. It is about alignment. It is about making a choice that reflects your truth, your growth, and your understanding of the situation as a whole. And here is something you must not forget. Passing this test does not necessarily mean staying. It means understanding. It means reaching a place where your decision, whatever it may be, is not clouded by confusion or driven by impulse. You are being given a chance to rise above the patterns that once guided you unconsciously, to choose with awareness instead of reaction, to step into a version of yourself that does not run from difficulty, but learns from it. This moment may feel heavy, but it carries purpose, and how you move through it will shape more than just this relationship. It will shape the way you approach every meaningful connection that follows. Stand still for a little longer. There is more clarity coming. There is a kind of relief that comes with the thought of walking away. You can feel it even now, can't you? The idea of no more arguments, no more confusion, no more emotional weight pressing on your chest. It feels like freedom. It feels like peace. And in that moment, leaving seems like the answer to everything you have been carrying. But there is a truth that many do not realize until much later, sometimes when it is already too late to return. Not all relief is healing. Some relief is simply escape. And escape, while it may feel good in the moment, does not always lead to the peace you are truly seeking. You see, when you walk away too soon, you do not just leave behind the conflict. You also leave behind the understanding that could have come from working through it. You leave behind the clarity that only reveals itself when you stay long enough to see the full picture. And most importantly, you leave with unanswered questions that do not fade as easily as you might hope. At first, everything may feel lighter. You may feel like you made the right choice. The silence may feel calm. The distance may feel like space to breathe. But then, slowly, something begins to return. A thought, a memory, a question that lingers just a little longer than before. What if I misunderstood something? What if things could have been different if I had just waited a little longer? What if I left before the truth had a chance to reveal itself? These questions do not come all at once. They appear quietly in unexpected moments. And when they do, they carry a weight that is very different from the weight you were trying to escape. This is the weight of uncertainty. The weight of not knowing whether your decision was complete. Archangel Michael sees this clearly. He has witnessed countless moments where people chose to leave in the heat of emotion, only to later realize that their decision was not rooted in clarity, but in temporary overwhelm. And his message to you right now is not to trap you in a situation that harms you, but to protect you from making a decision that you may later question. There is a difference between walking away because you have seen everything clearly and walking away because you could not bear the discomfort of not yet understanding. A difference may seem small in the moment, but its impact is profound over time. Think about this deeply. If you walk away now, will you feel complete in your decision? Or will there be a part of you that still wonders, still questions, still looks back searching for answers? Because if that part exists, then there is still something here that has not been fully seen. This does not mean you are meant to stay forever. It does not mean that every relationship must be saved. But it does mean that your decision deserves to come from a place of full awareness, not from a moment of emotional exhaustion. Many people believe that leaving is always the stronger choice. But strength is not defined by leaving or staying. Strength is defined by clarity. It is defined by your willingness to face what is uncomfortable long enough to understand it, rather than turning away the moment it becomes difficult. Archangel Michael is standing beside you in this moment, not pushing you in either direction, but holding space for you to see clearly. His presence is a reminder that you are not alone in this process. that you are being guided toward a decision that aligns with your highest good. He is asking you to look beyond the immediate relief that leaving may offer and consider the deeper impact of your choice. To ask yourself not just, will this make me feel better right now, but also, will this bring me peace in the long run? Because true peace does not come from avoiding what is difficult. It comes from understanding it. And here is something else you must hear. Sometimes, the very thing you are trying to escape holds the answer you have been searching for. Not always, but sometimes. And if you leave before discovering that answer, you may spend far more time searching for it elsewhere. To pause again. Not to delay your life, but to protect your future. Not to stay in confusion, but to move toward clarity. Do not let a temporary storm convince you that the entire sky is falling. There is still more for you to see before you decide. Here is something that has not happened yet. Something simple, yet powerful enough to shift everything you are feeling right now. It is not a grand gesture. It is not time or distance. It is a conversation. The one conversation that has been avoided, delayed, or quietly pushed aside because it felt too difficult, too uncomfortable, or too uncertain. And yet, that very conversation may be the key standing between confusion and clarity. You may believe that everything has already been said, that there is nothing new left to express. But if that were true, there would not be this lingering tension inside you. There would not be this sense that something is unfinished. Because when truth is fully spoken and fully understood, it brings a kind of stillness. Even if the outcome is difficult, there is peace in knowing that nothing was left unsaid. Right now, that peace is missing, and that absence is speaking louder than any argument or silence that has come before. Archangel Michael is guiding you toward this realization because he sees what remains hidden beneath the surface. He sees the words that were softened when they needed to be direct. He sees the feelings that were held back out of fear of rejection or conflict. And he sees how both you and the other person may be carrying assumptions about each other that have never been truly clarified. Assumptions are powerful. They fill the gaps where communication is missing. They create stories in your mind about what the other person thinks, feels, or intends. And over time, those stories begin to feel like truth, even when they are not fully accurate. This is how distance grows even between two people who once felt deeply connected. But a single honest conversation has the power to break that pattern. Not a conversation filled with blame, not one driven by anger or the need to prove a point, but a conversation rooted in honesty. The kind where you speak not just to be heard, but to be understood, and where you listen not just to respond, but to truly hear what the other person is saying beneath their words. You may feel resistance to this. A part of you may say, "What's the point? It won't change anything." But that thought itself is worth questioning. How can you be certain of the outcome of a conversation that has not yet fully taken place? Sometimes, what feels like a broken connection is actually a misunderstood one. And misunderstanding cannot be resolved in silence. It can only be resolved through clarity. Archangel Michael is not asking you to fix everything in one moment. He is simply guiding you to open the door that has remained closed. Because behind that door may be answers you have not yet received. Answers that could either confirm your decision with peace or shift your perspective in ways you did not expect. And even if the conversation does not lead to reconciliation, it still holds value. Because it gives you something that silence never can. Closure rooted in truth, not assumption. It allows you to walk away, if that is your choice, without the weight of what is following you. There is also something important you must understand about timing. Conversations like this require a certain readiness, not just from you, but from the other person as well. And right now, you may be closer to that moment than you realize. The tension you are feeling, the emotional intensity, the urge to either speak or leave, these are all signs that something is ready to be expressed. Do not let fear stop you from reaching that point. Fear will tell you that it is safer to leave than to risk hearing something you may not like. But avoidance does not protect you from truth. It only delays it. And truth, no matter how difficult, is always lighter to carry than uncertainty. So ask yourself this honestly: have you truly said everything that needs to be said? Have you given yourself and the other person the opportunity to understand each other without filters, without assumptions, without holding back? If the answer is no, then there is still something here worth exploring. Archangel Michael stands with you as you consider this step, not to guarantee a specific outcome, but to ensure that whatever outcome unfolds, it is grounded in truth, not silence. Because one conversation, just one, can change everything. And until that moment has happened, your story here is not yet complete. Before you make any final decision, there is one place you must be willing to look: within yourself. Not with judgment, not with blame, but with honesty. Because every relationship is not only shaped by what the other person does, but also by the energy you bring into it. And this is where true transformation begins. It is easy to focus on what hurt you, what disappointed you, what made you feel unseen or unappreciated. Those experiences are real, and they matter. But there is another layer that often goes unnoticed: the way your own fears, past wounds, and expectations quietly influence how you show up in the relationship. Archangel Michael is gently guiding your attention here, not to make you feel responsible for everything, but to help you reclaim your power. Because when you understand your own patterns, you are no longer reacting unconsciously. You begin to respond with awareness, and that changes everything. Think about the moments where things felt most difficult. How did you respond? Did you withdraw when you felt hurt? Did you become defensive when you felt misunderstood? Did you expect the other person to know what you needed without clearly expressing it? These are not flaws. They are patterns. Patterns that often come from experiences long before this relationship even began. Sometimes, when you feel ignored, it touches an old feeling of being overlooked. When you feel distance, it may awaken a fear of abandonment. And without realizing it, your reaction becomes stronger than the situation itself. Not because you are overreacting, but because your heart is responding to more than just the present moment. This is why two people can experience the same situation in completely different ways. One sees a small misunderstanding, while the other feels deeply hurt. The difference is not in the event itself, but in the emotional history behind it. Archangel Michael wants you to see this clearly, not to invalidate your feelings, but to deepen your understanding of them. Because when you understand where your reactions come from, you gain the ability to shift them. You move from reacting out of habit to responding with intention. There is also the energy of expectation. Sometimes, without even realizing it, you may expect the other person to fulfill needs that you have not fully communicated. You may hope they will understand you without words, respond in a certain way, or meet a standard that exists in your mind but has never been clearly expressed. And when those expectations are not met, disappointment grows. But clarity cannot exist where communication is missing. This does not mean lowering your standards. It means expressing them in a way that allows the other person to truly understand you. Because even the strongest connection cannot thrive on unspoken expectations alone. At the same time, you must also ask yourself, are you bringing me energy you wish to receive? If you desire patience, are you offering patience? If you seek understanding, are you creating space for the other person to be understood? Relationships are not about perfection, but they are about balance. What you give and what you receive often reflect each other more than you realize. Archangel Michael is encouraging you to take this moment as an opportunity, not a burden. An opportunity to grow, to become more aware, to step into a version of yourself that is not controlled by past wounds or unconscious patterns. Because this growth does not just affect this relationship, it affects every connection you will ever have. And here is something important. Self-reflection does not mean you are at fault for everything. It means you are willing to understand your role, whatever it may be, so that your decisions come from clarity rather than assumption. Because once you see yourself clearly, everything else becomes clearer too. You begin to recognize what is truly coming from the other person and what is being shaped by your own internal experiences. You begin to separate what is real from what is being amplified by emotion. And in that clarity, your next step becomes much easier to understand. So before you walk away, ask yourself honestly, what energy have I been bringing into this connection? What patterns have I been repeating? And what can I learn from this moment, regardless of the outcome? Archangel Michael stands beside you, not to judge, but to guide you toward this deeper awareness. Because within this awareness lies your power. The power to choose differently, to respond differently, and to create a path that aligns with your highest truth. Do not rush past this step. It may hold the very insight that changes everything. Type "I choose growth and clarity" in the comments if this message is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 9221 is now flowing into your life. As you reflect on the energy you bring, understand this sacred truth. What you sow in the spirit becomes a harvest in the lives of others. When you give into this mission, you are not just supporting a message, you are becoming a vessel through which light reaches someone who is lost, someone who is praying for direction just like you were. The Lord declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy," and right now, your seed can become someone else's answered prayer. If your heart is moved in this moment, that is your confirmation. Step forward through Super Thanks or the PayPal link placed in the description and QR code, and release what has been placed in your hands. As you give, heaven marks your obedience, and blessings begin to multiply in ways you cannot yet see. Move now. Let your giving speak where words cannot. There is a truth that must be spoken with clarity and honesty, because not every relationship is meant to continue. While you are being guided to pause, reflect, and understand, there is also a moment when clarity becomes so strong, so steady, that it no longer carries confusion with it. That is the moment when letting go is not an escape, it is alignment. But how do you know the difference? How do you know whether you are being asked to stay and understand or to release and move forward? This is where many people struggle, because both choices can feel painful in their own way. Staying requires patience, vulnerability, and the courage to face what is uncomfortable. Letting go requires acceptance, strength, and the willingness to close a chapter that once held meaning. Neither path is easy, but only one will bring you peace. Archangel Michael is guiding you now into a deeper level of discernment. Not based on temporary emotion, not based on fear, but based on truth that feels steady within you. When it is truly time to let go, something shifts inside you. The urgency fades, the emotional storm settles, and in its place, there is a quiet knowing. Not loud and not dramatic, but calm and clear. It does not rush you. It does not confuse you. It simply shows you that holding on is no longer aligned with who you are becoming. In contrast, when the desire to leave is driven by overwhelm, everything feels rushed. There is tension, there is pressure, there is a need to escape quickly. That is not clarity, that is emotional exhaustion seeking relief. So pause and ask yourself honestly, what am I feeling right now? Is it calm clarity or is it heavy urgency? Because that answer reveals more than you might expect. There are also signs within the relationship itself. When a connection is no longer meant to continue, it often becomes consistently draining, not just in moments, but over time. Communication breaks down completely, not temporarily, but repeatedly without resolution. Effort becomes one-sided, and even when both people try, there is no progress, only repetition of the same pain. In these moments, Archangel Michael does not ask you to stay where you are being diminished. He does not ask you to hold on to something that is no longer growing, no longer evolving, no longer aligned with your well-being. His protection is not only about keeping relationships together, it is also about guiding you away from what no longer serves your highest path. Letting go, when it is truly time, is not failure. It is not giving up. It is honoring the truth that something has fulfilled its purpose in your life. Some relationships are meant to teach, to awaken, to transform you, and once that transformation has taken place, their role is complete. But even in letting go, there is a right way to do it. Not in anger, not in bitterness, not in a way that leaves wounds open and unresolved. True release comes with understanding. It comes with acceptance of what was, what is, and what can no longer be. It allows you to walk away without carrying resentment, without carrying unanswered questions, without carrying the weight of unfinished emotions. This is the kind of ending that brings peace, even if it brings tears. Archangel Michael stands with you in this possibility as well. If your path is leading you toward letting go, he ensures that you do not walk away broken, but strengthened. Not empty, but wiser. Not lost, but redirected toward something that aligns more deeply with your truth. And here is something important. When you release what is no longer meant for you, you create space. Space for healing. Space for growth. Space for something new to enter your life. Something that meets you where you are becoming, not where you used to be. But that space can only be created when the decision to let go is made with clarity, not confusion. So do not rush to this conclusion. Do not assume that leaving is the answer simply because things feel difficult. And do not force yourself to stay simply because you are afraid of letting go. Instead, seek the stillness where truth reveals itself. The place where your heart is no longer in conflict, where your mind is no longer racing, where your spirit feels at peace with the direction you are about to take. Because when you reach that place, you will not need anyone to tell you what to do. You will know. And that knowing will guide you with a strength and certainty that cannot be shaken. There is something unfolding in your life right now that you cannot fully see, and that is what makes this moment feel so uncertain. You are standing in a space where answers feel incomplete, where clarity feels just out of reach, and where every option carries a weight you are not sure how to carry. But what you must understand is this: just because you cannot see what is happening does not mean that nothing is happening. There is timing involved in everything you are experiencing right now. Not human timing, not the kind that demands immediate answers or instant resolution, but divine timing. The kind that works quietly, behind the scenes, lining things in ways that only make sense when you look back later. Archangel Michael is deeply present in this unseen process. While you are focused on what is in front of you, the confusion, the tension, the emotional distance, he is working in areas you cannot yet access. He is influencing timing, opening and closing doors, allowing certain truths to surface while holding others back until the moment is right. And this is where your patience is being called forward. Because right now, you may feel like you need to decide immediately. You may feel pressure, either from within or from your circumstances, to make a final choice. But pressure is not always a sign that something must be done. Sometimes, it is simply a test of whether you can remain still when everything is urging you to move. There are pieces of the situation that are not yet fully revealed. Conversations that have not yet happened. Realizations that have not yet surfaced. Emotions that are still in the process of being understood, both within you and within the other person. And if you act before these pieces come together, your decision may be based on an incomplete picture. Think of it like this. If you were reading a story and stopped halfway through, you might assume you know how it ends. But without the full story, your conclusion would only be a guess. And right now, you are in the middle of a chapter, not at the end of the book. Archangel Michael is asking you to trust this in-between space, not as a place of confusion, but as a place of preparation. Because while it may feel uncomfortable, it is here that the most important shifts are taking place. Sometimes, distance is necessary for clarity. Sometimes, silence is necessary for truth to become louder. Sometimes, even discomfort is necessary to bring awareness to something that has been ignored for too long. These are not signs that everything is falling apart. They are signs that something is being realigned. You may not see the purpose in it now. You may question why things cannot simply be clear, why the answers cannot come quickly, why the path forward feels uncertain. But there is a reason for this timing, even if it is not yet visible to you. There are moments in life where waiting is not a delay, it is protection. Protection from making a decision too early. Protection from missing something important. Protection from stepping into an outcome that is not fully aligned with your highest good. Archangel Michael is holding that protection over you right now. P is ensuring that you are not rushed into something that you may later wish you had approached differently. But this protection requires your cooperation. It requires your willingness to trust that not everything needs to be decided in this exact moment. Let yourself sit with what you are feeling without forcing an immediate conclusion. Allow the situation to unfold just a little more. Give space for clarity to arrive naturally, instead of chasing it through pressure. Because clarity, when it is real, does not need to be forced. It arrives with a sense of calm, with a sense of knowing that does not require constant questioning. And that is what you are being guided toward. Not just a decision, but a decision that feels right in your spirit, not just in your emotions. So take a step back from the urgency. Release the need to have all the answers right now. Trust that what needs to be revealed will be revealed at the right time. Because there is a timing to this that you cannot yet see. And when that timing reveals itself, everything will begin to make sense in a way that it does not right now. There is a future ahead of you that has not yet been written. Even though everything may feel uncertain right now, even though your heart feels pulled in different directions, you are not standing at an ending. You are standing at a point of possibility. And what you choose from this moment forward will shape more than just this relationship. It will shape the life you are stepping into. Right now, it may feel like your only options are to stay and struggle or to leave and start over. But that is not the full truth. There are possibilities in between, possibilities that only become visible when you slow down enough to truly see them. And this is what Archangel Michael wants you to understand. You are not as limited as your current emotions may be making you feel. There is still a version of this relationship that you have not fully explored. A version built not on assumption, not on silence, but on clarity, communication, and mutual understanding. That version may require effort. It may require honesty that feels uncomfortable. It may require both of you to grow in ways you have not yet considered. But it exists, and it cannot be discovered if you walk away before giving it the space to form. At the same time, there is also a future where you choose to walk away, not out of confusion, but out of clarity. A future where you carry the lessons of this connection with you, not as burdens, but as wisdom. A future where you step into something new with a deeper understanding of yourself, of love, and of what truly aligns with your heart. Both of these futures are possible, and neither one is wrong. What matters is the place from which you choose. Archangel Michael is guiding you to see that your future is not defined by this moment of uncertainty. It is shaped by your awareness within it. If you choose with clarity, with understanding, with truth, then whatever path you take will lead you forward in a way that supports your growth. But if you choose from fear, from urgency, from emotional overwhelm, then even if the decision feels right at first, it may lead you into patterns that repeat themselves in ways you do not expect. This is why this moment is so powerful, because it is not just about what happens next. It is about how you carry yourself into what happens next. Imagine a version of yourself who has taken the time to understand everything fully. A version of yourself who is not rushing, not reacting, but choosing with intention. That version of you moves differently, speaks differently, loves differently, and most importantly, that version of you does not look back with regret, because every step was taken with awareness. That is the future Archangel Michael is guiding you toward. You may also feel a sense of fear when you think about the future. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of losing something meaningful. Fear of stepping into the unknown. These fears are natural, but they are not meant to control your decision. They are meant to remind you that what you are facing matters. But here's what you must remember. The right decision does not eliminate fear. It brings peace alongside it. Even if there is uncertainty, even if there are emotions involved, there is still a quiet sense that you are moving in alignment with your truth. And that is what you are being prepared for right now. There is still something beautiful possible ahead. Whether it is the healing of this relationship or the beginning of a new chapter, something meaningful is waiting on the other side of this moment. But that outcome depends on how you move through this space of uncertainty. Do not rush past the possibility that still exists here. Do not assume that what you see right now is all that there is. Because sometimes, the most meaningful outcomes are the ones that reveal themselves only after you have chosen to stay present a little longer. Archangel Michael is walking with you into this future, holding space for clarity, for truth, and for the path that aligns with your highest good. You are not alone in this, even if it feels that way at times. Trust that there is more ahead than what you can currently see, and trust that when you choose from a place of truth, the future you step into will reflect that truth back to you in ways that feel right, even if they are not easy. Your story is not over. In many ways, it is just beginning. My dear soul, you have come this far for a reason. You did not pause, reflect, and listen to all of this by accident. Something within you knew that this moment required more than a quick decision. It required awareness. It required stillness. It required truth. Now you stand at the edge of your choice, but you are no longer the same person who first felt the urge to walk away. You have seen deeper. You have felt more clearly. You have allowed yourself to consider what lies beneath the surface instead of reacting to what is only visible on top. And this is where peace begins. Archangel Michael is close to you now, closer than ever before in this journey. Not to tell you what to do, not to force your path, but to remind you of who you are when you are aligned with truth. You are not someone who makes decisions out of fear. You are not someone who runs from confusion without seeking understanding. You are someone who chooses with awareness, with intention, and with courage. Take a deep breath in this moment. Feel the difference within yourself. The urgency that once pushed you is no longer as strong. The confusion that once clouded your mind is beginning to clear. And in its place, there is something quieter, something steadier. That is your truth rising. Whether you choose to stay and rebuild, or to walk away with clarity, what matters now is how you choose. Not from pain, not from pressure, but from a place of calm knowing. If you stay, let it be because you see potential, because you are willing to communicate, because you believe there is something worth understanding more deeply. Stay not out of fear of losing, but out of clarity of purpose. If you walk away, let it be with peace in your heart. Let it be with the understanding that you have seen everything clearly, that you have honored your truth, and that you are releasing this connection without anger, without regret, and without unanswered questions. There is no wrong path when the choice is made with truth. Archangel Michael is placing a shield of protection over your heart right now. Whatever you decide, you will not be left broken. You will not be left lost. You will be guided, strengthened, and carried forward into what is meant for you. And here is the final truth you must hold on to. This moment was never just about the relationship. It was about you. Your growth, your awareness, your ability to rise above reaction and step into alignment. You have done that. So now, trust yourself. Trust the clarity that has formed within you. Trust that whatever path you choose from this place will lead you exactly where you are meant to go. Do not be afraid anymore. You are ready. Type "I trust my path" in the comments if you receive this message with clarity. Blessing code 5513 is now sealed over your journey. And as this message settles into your spirit, hear this calling clearly. What you have received today is not just for you. It is a living stream meant to reach countless others standing in silent confusion, just like you once were. The Lord declares, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days," and right now, your giving becomes that bread, flowing into lives that are waiting for light. I feel led in my spirit to say this: I am stepping forward to become a vessel of this light. If that resonates within you, do not hesitate. Sow your seed through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description and the QR code provided. As you release, heaven records your obedience, and a harvest is prepared not only for you but for every soul your seed touches. This is your moment. Step into it now, and let your giving echo in eternity.